Hello and welcome to this video series about business astrology. Here you will learn more about questions like: what is astrology? How does it work? How can astrology be applied to the fields of business and economics? Areas such as strategy, branding, human resources and communication. How can astrology help you personally with your business, with your career? And I will show you some examples of my daily work.
When I quit my job in one of Germany's most renowned luxury companies, people were very surprised, especially when they heard that I'm now doing astrological business consulting. And whenever people hear astrology, they have certain pictures in their heads. Have you become a fortune teller? Do you have a crystal ball to see the future? Or do you have an expensive telephone number on one of those esoteric TV channels where people call to waste their money? Astrology, is this something occult or something spiritual? For most of the people, astrology is a book with 7 seals. And this book I am going to open now for you. When we look into our solar system, we see the sun in the center and the planets rotating around. The movements of the planets are not random, left, right, above, below. No, they are all on the same plane and they all rotate in the same direction, like a cosmic clockwork. Already thousands of years ago, people looked into the night sky and recognized these regular patterns in the course of the sun, the moon and the planets. And when we look back in history, nearly all high cultures of mankind have developed astrological systems. Many of the famous monuments across the world have an astrological background. They are archaic observatories aligned to the cardinal points of the solar year, the spring and the autumn equinox, and the winter and the summer solstice. Today it has become very easy for astrologers. We don't need to build up monuments anymore in order to calculate the horoscope. Today, the computer does all this work. And here we see the very basis of every horoscope, the coordinate system called the zodiac. Starting at the vernal point, 0 degree Aries. Aries, the beginning of the new world, discovering, exploring, conquering, bringing new things into society. Investigating all the white spots on the map. Then the second step in this cycle, Taurus, where these discovered and conquered things are safeguarded, encircled, surrounded by walls and protected. The carving out and defending of territories, the accumulation of property, the consolidation of matter. Then the third step, Gemini, where the functions and capacities of matter are investigated, procedures and technologies, communication, mediation, transport, connecting things, intellectual analysis and delineation, and so forth. When we talk about astrology, most people know their so-called star sign, which is the zodiac sign of the sun at birth. For example, this man is born on 3rd of July, and hence he has his sun in Cancer. And when he looks on the sugar pack of his coffee, or into one of those star sign books, it will tell him things like: you are very emotional, soulful, sentimental, sometimes also moody and unsteady. Your home, your roots, your family are very important, and so on. And then this man will think, okay, some statements describe me well, others not. In the end, all this is quite random. What's the reason for that? Well, we don't just have the sun in the horoscope, we also have the moon. And this man has moon in Scorpio. So his emotions are very intense and dominated by conceptions and imaginations. They follow the channels of beliefs and fixed ideas. And then we have the 8 planets. So we already get a much more sophisticated picture of this person. These planets have certain relationships to each other, geometrical angles, which are called aspects in astrology. Here, for example, we see that the Sun in Cancer has an exact square, which is an angle of 90 degrees, to Uranus. Uranus, the planet of the rebels and the revolutionists, those who want to make something new, those who want to overthrow traditional structures and bring the visions of a new world into society. So we already see that this Cancer won't be that typical homely guy. He will be quite restless and subversive. Then we have the astrological houses. And when we turn the chart in the way horoscopes normally look like, then we see on the left-hand side the so-called ascendant, the place where the zodiac rises in the east, where the sun rises in the morning. On the top there's midheaven, the highest point of the zodiac, the highest position of the sun at midday. Then on the right-hand side there is the descendant, the place in the west where the sun sets in the evening, the so-called encounter point with others, and so forth. And when we take all this together, we can see that the astrological model is one of the very first system theories of mankind. This man here has Sagittarius rising, so convictions and ideologies are important issues in his life. Also idealism and the urge to improve the world. Plus, the planet Neptune is rising, so his person is surrounded by haze, arcane, camouflaged, secret. Concealment and deception play an important role. A man hidden in the background. And in opposition there is Saturn, precisely descending. Saturn stands for rigid structures, bureaucracies, the state, the government, for conservative values and tradition. So here we have an ideological man who operates in the hidden and who wants to dissolve and undercut the governmental system. Most of you know this man, Julian Assange.
And here we see how precise an astrological personality profile becomes if we don't just look at the sun sign but take the complete horoscope into account. And what works so well here with celebrities, this also works with companies, with organizations, with private people, with each one of us.